Staying with China, next month the Chinese president will attend the G20 summit. A summit where he could possibly have a bilateral with Joe Biden. Yes. For months now, officials from both sides have hinted at a Biden-Xi bilateral in the near future. The first sit-down meeting between the two leaders. The possibility has been floating around for quite some time now. It first emerged back in July, when senior US officials said that they were trying to arrange a face-to-face meeting between the two. Then in September, White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said that the US and China are making active efforts for an in-person meeting. He said the two had already discussed the same over a phone call. A month on, and there's another hint. Look at the headline on your screen now. America's top diplomat Antony Blinken recently dialed China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi. What was this phone call about? Maintaining open lines of communication and responsibly managing bilateral ties. Remember, this is the latest of several exchanges between American and Chinese officials. Reports say they indicate signs of a thaw, a defrosting of frozen ties. Is that really the case? It could be. Look at what the Chinese president said recently. He's willing to work with the United States. Exact words spoken. Interestingly, he said this in a letter to the National Committee on US-China Relations, China's topmost body for any kind of engagement with the Americans. The Chinese state broadcaster has released a detailed statement. Allow me now to quote the most operative part. Better communication between the two nations would bolster global peace and development. Our nation is willing to work with the US for the same. Interestingly, Xi Jinping's remarks echo his message from last year, which came ahead of a virtual summit with Joe Biden. Even then, he had struck a conciliatory tone and signaled an effort to maintain peace. A year on, he has extended an olive branch again. So how do we perceive this? What do we make of it? Can the two really be friends or just back from the brink? They might just, but not without challenges. There are still a host of thorny issues which might impede improvement of ties. The first one, of course, is Taiwan. China won't stop threatening it, and America won't stop defending it. In fact, Joe Biden has gone to the extent of saying that he is willing to use force if China invades Taiwan. White House officials have tried to walk the statement back, but one can't think of a scenario where the US will be willing to abandon the Taiwan cause. One of the biggest leverages it has over the Chinese regime. China, too, considers Taiwan a part of the mainland and will never, in the wildest of imaginations, let go of it. And that's just one reason. There are multiple others which make the possibility of the two sides being friends far-fetched. Let me list some of them now. The suppression of democratic freedoms in Hong Kong. The human rights violations against the Uyghur Muslims. Beijing's muscle flexing in the South China Sea. Its never-ending standoffs with US allies, its implicit support to North Korea and Russia, its diplomatic overtures at all global forums. Simply put, the US and China may manage to dial down tensions which they have been on and off for the past few years. But to expect the two to become friends would be wishful thinking. That said, the diplomatic efforts being made by both sides, the attempts at building peace and avoiding confrontation are indeed a step in the right direction. They may not result in lasting peace, but might yield some short-term gains, which by all means will benefit all countries that have borne the brunt of their tussle. After all, the world would be a better place if these two global superpowers were not enemies. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.